Captain Dongwu sat in his chair on the bridge of the Earth Defense Station Aurora. The coffee in his cup had gone cold hours ago, but he did not notice. His eyes stayed fixed on the main screen that showed nothing but empty space and distant stars. 3 days had passed since the last message from the Kepler colonies, and the silence was getting louder. "Sir, we have something," said Nari from her position at the communications desk. Her voice was quiet but urgent. She had been trying to reach the human settlements in the Kepler 442 system for 72 hours without success. Dongwu walked over to her station. Nari was 26 years old and had been working deep space communications for 4 years. She knew the difference between equipment failure and something much worse. "What do you have?" he asked. Nari pressed a button, and static filled the bridge. Through the noise, they could hear broken pieces of words. The voice was scared and speaking fast. "Under attack. Ships came from nowhere. They are not responding to any signals. New Sol Colony is gone. I repeat, New Sol Colony is..." The message cut off completely. "When did this come in?" Dongwu asked. 20 minutes ago. It took this long to clean up the signal enough to understand it." Nari looked up at her captain. "Sir, that voice belongs to Tai Ho. He is the colony leader on Kepler 442b. Dongwu felt his stomach drop. Tai Ho was a good man who had led 3,000 colonists to build a new life among the stars. The colonies in the Kepler system were peaceful farming settlements. They had no military and posed no threat to anyone. "Keep trying to reach them," Dongwu ordered, "and send a priority message to Earth Command. Tell them we may have a first contact situation, and it is not going well." Across the solar system, Dr. So Young was having her own problems. She worked alone in the orbital research station that hung above Earth's North Pole. Her job was to study how life on Earth affected the planet's magnetic field. It was usually quiet work that she loved, but today her instruments were showing readings that made no sense. Earth's magnetic field was changing in ways she had never seen before. The changes came in patterns, almost like a heartbeat. Deep underground, something was moving that had never moved before. So Young checked her equipment 3 times. Everything was working correctly. The readings were real. She opened a communication channel to her supervisor on Earth. "Dr. Park, this is So Young. I need to report some unusual readings." "What kind of unusual?" Dr. Park asked. "The kind that should not be possible. Earth's magnetic field is fluctuating in organized patterns. The changes are coming from deep in the core, deeper than we have ever detected activity before." There was a long pause. "Send me everything you have. I will review it and get back to you." So Young sent the data, but she kept watching her instruments. The patterns were getting stronger. On Earth, Commander Jin Woo was having the worst day of his military career. Reports were coming in from around the world about strange seismic activity. Earthquake detection stations in Japan, Chile, and California were all recording the same thing. The Earth was moving in ways that did not match any known geological activity. His aide, Lieutenant Su Jin, brought him another stack of reports. "Sir, we now have confirmation from 12 different monitoring stations. The activity is worldwide and synchronized. Whatever is happening, it is happening everywhere at once." Jin Woo studied the reports. He had been a soldier for 20 years and had seen many strange things, but this was different. This felt important in a way he could not explain. "Get me a connection to Admiral Moon at Space Command," he said, "and call an emergency meeting of the Defense Council. Something big is happening and we need to figure out what it is." Meanwhile, 4,200 light-years away, colony leader Tai Ho was fighting for his life. The alien ships had appeared without warning 3 days ago. They were not like anything humans had ever seen. The ships were dark and moved in perfect formation. When the colonists tried to communicate, the aliens did not respond. Instead, they began destroying everything. Tai Ho ran through the burning streets of New Sol Colony with a small group of survivors. Behind them, the alien weapons turned buildings into ash and melted metal. The aliens were systematic and thorough. They were not interested in conquest or resources. They wanted complete destruction. "The communication center is just ahead," shouted Min Kyung, a young engineer who had been helping coordinate the evacuation. "If we can reach it, we can send one more message to Earth." They reached the building just as alien fighters screamed overhead. Taeho dove inside and activated the emergency transmitter. He had perhaps 30 seconds before the aliens found them. "Earth Command, this is Colony Leader Taeho on Kepler 442b. We are under attack by unknown alien forces. They appeared 3 days ago without warning. 7 colonies have been destroyed. The aliens do not communicate and show no interest in surrender or negotiation. They are systematically destroying all human presence in this system. This may be our final transmission. Tell our families we..." The building exploded around him. Back on Earth, Dr. So-young was staring at her instruments in amazement. At the exact moment Taeho's transmission ended, Earth's magnetic field had surged. The pattern of activity changed, becoming more complex and more powerful. It was as if the planet had heard what happened to its children among the stars. So-young quickly opened channels to observatories around the world. "This is Dr. So-young at North Pole Research Station. I need immediate confirmation on gravitational wave detection. Are you seeing anything unusual?" The response came quickly from the Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory. "Confirmed. We are detecting gravitational waves of unknown origin. The source appears to be Earth itself." So-young felt a chill run down her spine. Gravitational waves were ripples in space-time itself. They were created by the most powerful events in the universe, like colliding black holes or exploding stars. They were not created by planets, but Earth was creating them now. Captain Dong-woo received the emergency summons to return to Earth just as his communications officer detected something impossible. Deep space sensors were picking up gravitational disturbances near the Kepler system. The disturbances matched the timing of the strange activity on Earth. Somehow, Earth was reaching across 4,200 light-years of space. As Dong-woo prepared his ship for the journey home, he looked out at the stars and wondered what humanity had awakened. The silence from the Kepler colonies was complete now, but Earth itself seemed to be screaming in response. The war had begun, and the battlefield was bigger than anyone had imagined. Dr. Hyejin had not slept in 48 hours. She stood in front of the massive computer screens in the Earth Geological Survey Center, watching data that should not exist. The numbers on her screen showed that Earth's core was doing something impossible. "The gravitational waves are not random," she said to her team of scientists. "Look at the pattern. The core is sending out pulses in a specific sequence." Her assistant Jong-soo looked up from his calculations. "But Dr. Hee-jin, planets do not create gravitational waves. The energy required would be enormous." "I know what planets are supposed to do," Hyejin replied sharply. "But Earth is not following the rules anymore." She pointed to a series of readings on the main screen. "The core temperature has increased by 2% in the last 24 hours. The magnetic field is now pulsing in coordination with these gravitational waves. And look at this." The screen showed a map of the world with thousands of red dots. Each dot represented a seismic monitoring station. Every station on Earth is recording the same pattern of vibrations. The entire planet is moving as one unit, like a giant machine. Jong-soo stared at the data. "What kind of machine?" "I think," Hyejin said slowly, "it is a weapon." Across the city, communications specialist Woo Jin was having his own breakthrough. He worked in the Deep Space Communications Center, where massive radio telescopes listen to the universe for signs of intelligent life. Today, the universe was talking back. "Director Kim, you need to see this," Woo Jin called out to his supervisor. Director Kim walked over to Woo Jin's station. On the screen was a display showing radio signals from deep space. But these signals were not coming from alien civilizations. "These signals are coming from the Kepler system," Woo Jin explained. "But they are not from our colonies. The pattern matches the gravitational waves that Earth is sending out." "What does that mean?" Director Kim asked. "I think Earth is talking to something out there, and something is talking back." Woo Jin pressed a button and the signal played through the speakers. It sounded like static, but underneath the noise was a pattern. The same pattern that Earth's core was creating. "Sir," Woo Jin said quietly, I think Earth is having a conversation with space itself. In the Kepler system, Minho was running for his life. He was one of the few survivors from New Sol Colony, and he had spent the last 3 days hiding in the ruins of his home. The alien ships continued their systematic destruction, but something had changed. The alien ships were having problems. Minho watched from his hiding place as one of the dark vessels suddenly stopped moving. Its lights flickered and went out. The ship began to drift sideways as if it had lost all power. Other ships moved to help, but they were also showing signs of trouble. Their perfect formations were breaking apart. Some ships were moving in strange directions as if they could not control where they were going. Minho had been an engineer before the attack. He understood machines, and these alien machines were failing. He activated his emergency communicator, hoping someone on Earth could hear him. "This is Minho, survivor from New Sol Colony. The alien ships are malfunctioning. Something is affecting their systems. I do not know what is causing it, but they are in trouble." The message took 4 years to reach Earth at the speed of light, but somehow Earth already knew. On Earth, marine biologist Yunji was studying something that made her question everything. She knew about the ocean. She worked at the Oceanic Research Institute on Jeju Island, where she had spent 15 years studying whale migration patterns. But the whales were not migrating anymore. They were gathering. "Director Lee, you need to come see this," Yunji called to her supervisor. Director Lee joined her at the observation deck overlooking the ocean. In the water below, hundreds of whales were swimming in perfect circles. The circles were getting larger and larger. "This is not natural behavior," Yunji said. "Whales do not form patterns like this, but look at the shape they are making." From above, the whale formations looked like ripples in a pond, the same ripples that gravitational waves would make if they could be seen. The whales are copying the gravitational wave pattern, Yunji realized. Somehow they can sense what Earth is doing and they are helping. Director Lee stared at the ocean. "Helping with what?" "I think," Yunji said, "they are helping Earth send a message." The message was being received across the galaxy. Deep space observatories detected massive distortions in space-time near the Kepler system. The alien fleet that had been destroying human colonies was now trapped in a bubble of twisted space. The aliens had a name for themselves. They called themselves the Orcs, and they had been traveling the galaxy for thousands of years. They believed that only one species should exist in the universe, and that species was them. They had destroyed 17 different civilizations before finding humanity. The Orcs had never encountered resistance like this before. Their quantum drive engines depended on stable space-time to function, but space around their fleet was no longer stable. It was bending and twisting in ways that made their technology useless. Vorac's fleet commander Zulhan tried to understand what was happening to his ships. His science officers reported that gravitational waves were coming from a small blue planet in a system far away. The waves were somehow reaching across the galaxy and affecting the fabric of space itself. "How is this possible?" Zulhan demanded. "Planets do not have this kind of power." His chief scientist, Mortok, studied the readings. "Commander, this planet appears to be generating energy levels that should only be possible for a star. But it is not a star. It is a small, rocky world with primitive life forms. Then how is it doing this? I do not know, Commander. But whatever it is doing, it is getting stronger." Back on Earth, Dr. So-Young was recording everything. Her instruments showed that Earth's energy output was increasing every hour. The gravitational waves were getting more powerful, and they were becoming more focused. "It is learning," she said to herself. "Earth is learning how to fight." She opened a communication channel to Earth Defense Command. "This is Dr. So-Young. I need to speak with Commander Jinwoo immediately." "Dr. So-Young, this is Commander Jinwoo. What is your status?" "Commander, Earth is not just responding to the attack on our colonies. It is preparing for war. The gravitational waves are becoming weaponized. I think Earth is going to fight back." There was a long pause. "Fight back how?" "I do not know yet. But Commander, I think our planet is angry, and I think it is going to show the galaxy what happens when you hurt its children." In the Kepler system, Minho watched as another alien ship lost power and began to drift. The systematic destruction of the human colonies had stopped. The Voraks were now focused on trying to repair their ships and escape the gravitational distortions that were tearing their fleet apart. But escape was becoming impossible. The distortions were getting stronger, and they were spreading. Soon, the entire Kepler system would be trapped in a bubble of twisted spacetime. Min-Ho activated his communicator again. "Earth, this is Min-Ho. I do not know if you can hear me, but whatever you are doing, it is working. The aliens are trapped, they cannot escape. But Earth, I think they are getting scared. And scared enemies are dangerous enemies." The message would take 4 years to reach Earth, but somehow Earth already knew. The gravitational waves intensified, and across the galaxy, space itself began to bend to Earth's will. The real war was about to begin. Admiral Seung-ho stood on the bridge of the battleship Taeguk as it prepared to leave Earth's orbit. His fleet of 30 ships was the largest force humanity had ever sent into deep space. But as he looked at the tactical displays, he knew they were heading into a fight they could not win with conventional weapons. "Admiral, we are receiving new orders from Earth Command," reported his communications officer, Lieutenant Ye Jin. "What are the orders?" "Sir, we are to proceed to the Kepler system as planned, but Earth Command says we should expect assistance from an unusual source." Seung-ho frowned. "What kind of assistance?" Before Ye Jin could answer, space in front of the fleet began to bend. The stars twisted and stretched, forming a tunnel of light that had not been there moments before. "Admiral," called out Navigator Kyung-min from his station, "sensors are detecting a stable wormhole forming directly ahead of us." Seung-ho had been a naval officer for 30 years, but he had never seen anything like this. Wormholes were theoretical. They existed in physics textbooks, not in real space. "Where does it lead?" he asked. Kyung-min checked his instruments twice before answering. "Sir, it leads directly to the Kepler system. The wormhole would cut our travel time from 50 years to 15 minutes. That is impossible." "Yes, sir, it should be impossible. But the wormhole is stable and appears to be safe for travel." Seung-ho made a decision that would change the course of the war. "Take us through." The fleet entered the wormhole and emerged. In the Kepler system, just as the first alien ship exploded, Earth's gravitational weapons had finally torn apart the Vorax vessel's hull. The remaining alien ships were scattered across the system, their formations broken and their technology failing. But something else was happening. Human ships were appearing throughout the system, not from space but from similar wormholes. Earth was creating instant travel routes that only human vessels could use. Tactical Officer Yu Jin studied the enemy positions from her station aboard the destroyer Arirang. She had trained for space combat, but this was unlike any battle she had studied. "Captain Junho, the alien ships are trying to use our wormholes, but they cannot enter them. Something is blocking their access." Captain Junho activated his communication system. "All ships, this is Captain Junho. Begin attack pattern Alpha. Use the wormholes for rapid repositioning." The human ships disappeared into wormholes and reappeared behind the alien vessels. The Vorax had superior weapons and armor, but they could not fight an enemy that could appear anywhere instantly. Yujin watched as human fighters dove through wormholes, fired their weapons, and vanished before the aliens could return fire. "Captain, it is like the wormholes recognize us. They open for human ships but close for alien ones. How is that possible? I think Earth is choosing who can use them." On the surface of Kepler 442b, survivor Jae-sung was leading a group of colonists in hit-and-run attacks against Vorax ground forces. The aliens had landed troops to finish destroying the human settlements, but the war had changed. "Everyone, new wormhole opening on the ridge," called out Min-A, a former teacher who had become an expert scout. "Supplies and weapons are coming through." Jae-sung ran to the wormhole and found crates of military equipment that had been sent from Earth. But more importantly, he found reinforcements. Human soldiers were stepping through the wormhole ready to fight. "How did you get here so fast?" Jae-sung asked the squad leader. "We left Earth 10 minutes ago," Sergeant Dalho replied. "Earth opened a direct path for us. The planet wanted us here, so here we are." The human resistance became a nightmare for the Vorax ground forces. Humans would attack from one direction, disappear through a wormhole, and attack from another direction minutes later. The aliens could not predict where the next attack would come from because humans could move instantly across the battlefield. Back on Earth, Dr. Sunmi was trying to understand how the planet was creating these impossible weapons. She worked in the advanced physics laboratory, where the smartest scientists on Earth were studying the gravitational wave phenomenon. The energy requirements should be destroying Earth, she explained to her research team. Creating stable wormholes requires more power than our sun produces, but Earth is doing it easily. Her colleague, Dr. Hunjae, pointed to readings on his screen. Sunmi, look at this. Earth is not using more energy. It is using energy more efficiently. The planet is somehow accessing zero-point energy from the quantum vacuum. That is supposed to be impossible. Everything happening is supposed to be impossible. But Earth is rewriting the laws of physics. Sunmi studied the data. Earth was not just creating wormholes. The planet was manipulating dark matter, bending space-time and generating gravitational fields that could crush enemy ships from across the galaxy. Hunjae, I think Earth is evolving. It is developing new abilities in response to the threat against humanity. Evolving into what? Into something that can protect its children no matter where they are in the universe. The Voraks were discovering that they had made a terrible mistake. Commander Zulhan received reports from across the galaxy as other Voraks fleets encountered the same impossible resistance. Commander, our forces in the Centauri system report similar attacks. His communications officer reported. Human vessels are appearing through spatial distortions and destroying our ships. How many systems are affected? All of them, sir. Every system where we are fighting humans is experiencing these gravitational anomalies. Zulhan realized the scope of what they were facing. This was not a war against human technology. This was a war against a planet that could fight across interstellar distances. Contact the High Command, he ordered. Tell them we need to reconsider our strategy. We are not fighting humans. We are fighting their world. The message was sent, but it would never reach its destination. Earth's gravitational weapons had begun targeting Vorak's communication systems. The alien fleet was being isolated, cut off from their command structure and left to face Earth's wrath alone. In the Deep Space Monitoring Station, Wu Jin detected something that made him call for his supervisor immediately. Director Kim, Earth is doing something new. What now? The gravitational waves are reaching other star systems where humans live. Mars is beginning to show similar activity. The moon's orbit is changing. Sir, I think Earth is waking up other worlds. Director Kim stared at the readings. Other worlds? Any world that humans have touched is beginning to respond to Earth's call. It is like Earth is building an army of planets. The war was spreading beyond the Kepler system. Human colonies throughout local space reported that their worlds were beginning to show signs of the same activity that had started on Earth. Planets were awakening to protect humanity. Admiral Seung-ho received updates from across human space. Every world with human presence was developing defensive capabilities. Asteroids were moving into protective formations. Moons were adjusting their orbits to create better defensive positions. Admiral, we are receiving a message from Earth, Lieutenant Ye-jin reported. Put it through. The message was not in words. It came as a feeling, a knowledge that every human in the fleet somehow understood. Earth was telling them that the real war was just beginning. The Voraks had awakened something that had been sleeping for billions of years. And now that it was awake, it was very, very angry. The age of human helplessness was ending. The age of planetary warfare had begun. Engineer Kyung-soo had been working on spacecraft for 15 years, but nothing had prepared him for what he was seeing now. He stood in the engine room of the battleship Mugunghwa, watching as the ship's systems merged with something that was not quite technology and not quite alive. Chief Engineer, the quantum drive is showing readings I have never seen before, reported his assistant, Technician Bo Young. Kyung-soo looked at the displays. The ship's engines were operating at 300% of their designed capacity, but there was no stress on the systems. Instead, the engines seemed to be working in harmony with forces that came from outside the ship. Bo Young, run a full diagnostic on the gravitational sensors. Already done, sir. The sensors show that we are connected to Earth's gravitational field, even though we are thousands of light years away. Kyung-soo touched the hull of the ship and felt something impossible. The metal was warm, and it pulsed like a heartbeat. The ship was alive, or at least connected to something that was alive. Bo-young, I think our ship has become part of Earth. Not just our ship, but all human ships. What does that mean? It means we are not just fighting with Earth's weapons. We have become Earth's weapons. Meanwhile, the Voraks had decided to strike at the source of their problems. Their remaining fleet, over 2,000 ships, was approaching the Sol system. Fleet Commander Zulhan believed that destroying Earth would end the impossible war. All ships, prepare for final assault, he ordered. Once we destroy their homeworld, their resistance will collapse. But Earth had been waiting for them. As the Voraks fleet crossed the orbit of Pluto, they encountered Earth's first line of defense. Asteroids began moving from the asteroid belt, but they were not drifting. They were accelerating to incredible speeds. Combat. Pilot Haiwan was stationed on the orbital defense platform Sejong when the battle began. She watched her sensors as thousands of asteroids flew past her position, each one moving at nearly the speed of light. Control. This is Haiwan. The asteroids are being used as weapons. How is Earth accelerating them to these speeds? Haiwan, Earth has turned the entire solar system into a weapon, replied Flight Control Officer Jinnah. The sun's gravity is being manipulated to slingshot asteroids at relativistic speeds. Haiwan watched as the first wave of asteroids hit the Voraks fleet. The impact of rocks moving at near light speed was devastating. Entire alien ships simply vanished in explosions of pure energy. But Haiwan noticed something else. The asteroids were not randomly targeted. Each one hit exactly where it would cause maximum damage. Earth was not just throwing rocks, Earth was aiming. Control, the targeting is too precise. How does Earth know where to hit each ship? Haiwan, we think Earth can see the Voraks ships across space. The planet is using quantum entanglement to observe targets and guide weapons instantly. Haiwan felt a chill. Earth was not just defending itself. The planet was hunting. The second wave of Earth's defense was even more frightening. Mars began to move. The red planet adjusted its orbit and used its own gravity to accelerate metal-rich asteroids toward the Voraks fleet. The moon did the same, becoming a massive gravitational cannon. Dr. Gite was interrogating captured Voraks prisoners when he made a discovery that changed everything. He worked in the alien research facility, where humanity was trying to understand their enemies. The prisoner is trying to communicate, his translator Sung Min reported. What is it saying? It is asking us to stop the planet. It says Earth is not just defending humanity. Earth is learning to hate. Gite studied the alien prisoner. The Voraks was a tall, thin creature with silver skin and large black eyes. It had been arrogant when first captured, but now it seemed terrified. Ask it what it means by learning to hate. Sung Min translated the question. The Voraks responded with a series of clicks and whistles. It says that worlds are not supposed to have emotions, but Earth is developing feelings. The planet is angry about what happened to human colonies. It wants revenge. Gitai realized the implications. If Earth was developing emotions, then it might not stop with just defending humanity. An angry planet with unlimited power could become a threat to the entire galaxy. Ask it how we can stop Earth from becoming something dangerous. The Voraks clicked rapidly, then fell silent. It says, we cannot stop Earth now. The planet has tasted war and it likes the taste. Across the solar system, Earth's network was growing. Venus began showing signs of activity. Jupiter's moons started moving into defensive formations. Even the distant ice planets began to respond to Earth's call. Xenopsychologist Gite sent an urgent report to Earth Command. We have a problem. Earth is not just protecting humanity. The planet is developing a hatred for any species that threatens humans. If this continues, Earth may become a threat to peaceful alien civilizations. The response came back quickly. Dr. Gite, Earth is our protector. Why would we want to stop it? Because protection can become aggression. Earth is learning to enjoy destroying its enemies. What happens when it decides that all aliens are enemies? The question went unanswered, But across human space, other worlds were beginning to show the same aggressive tendencies. Mars had begun to hunt Vorax ships that approached human colonies. The Moon was using its gravity to crush alien vessels. Even asteroids were actively seeking out Vorax targets. Fleet Commander Zulhan watched his fleet being destroyed by an enemy he could not understand. Rocks became weapons. Gravity became a tool of war. Space itself seemed to be fighting against the Vorax. Science Officer Mortok, can we negotiate with this planet? Commander, our communications experts have tried. Earth does not respond to any signals. It seems to view all Vorax as targets to be destroyed. What about surrender? The planet does not seem to understand the concept of surrender. It only understands the destruction of threats. Zulhan realized that his species had made a fatal error. They had awakened something that should have remained asleep. Earth was not just a planet. It was becoming a force of nature that existed to protect humanity. The Vorax had faced many enemies in their long history, but they had never faced a planet that could fight back. They had never faced a world that could reach across the galaxy to destroy threats to its children. Combat pilot Hai Wan received new orders as the battle continued. All pilots, Earth is opening wormholes near the remaining Vorax ships. We are to pursue and destroy any vessel that tries to escape. Control, are we supposed to hunt down fleeing enemies? Affirmative. Earth wants no Vorax to survive this battle. The planet considers them a permanent threat to humanity. Haywan felt uncomfortable with the orders, but she followed them. Her fighter dove through a wormhole and emerged next to a damaged Vorax ship that was trying to retreat. She fired her weapons and watched the alien vessel explode. But as she returned to base, she wondered what humanity was becoming. They had gained the ultimate protector, but at what cost? Earth was learning to hate, and hatred could spread like a disease. The solar system was now a fortress of living worlds, all united in their desire to protect humanity. But protection was becoming aggression, and aggression was becoming something darker. The war was ending, but something new and frightening was beginning. Earth had awakened, and it was very, very angry. Fleet Commander Boram led the final human assault on the Vorax homeworld of Keth Prime. Her fleet emerged from Earth's wormholes in the heart of the enemy's most protected system, but they were not alone. Dozens of other worlds had followed Earth's example, and now an army of planets was converging on the Vorax capital. Admiral, Mars has arrived in the system, reported Navigation Officer Il-sung. Jupiter's moons are taking position around the outer planets. Earth's network now covers this entire system. Boram watched her tactical display as impossible things happened around her. Asteroids from the Sol system were arriving through wormholes, ready to be used as weapons. The gravity fields of multiple planets were working together to trap the remaining Vorax fleet. All ships begin final assault pattern. But remember, we are not just representing humanity today. We are representing every world that chooses to protect life instead of destroying it. The Vorax homeworld was a fortress that had never been conquered. Its defenses had protected the planet for 10,000 years. But those defenses were designed to fight fleets and armies, not planets themselves. Earth's gravitational weapons reached across space and began crushing the orbital defense stations. Mars used its gravity to pull Vorax ships out of their protective formations. Even distant Pluto contributed by sending ice comets at high speed toward military targets. Philosopher Chang Min watched the battle from the observation deck of the research vessel Hangang. He had been sent to document humanity's first interstellar war, but what he was seeing made him question everything about the nature of conflict. "This is not a battle between civilizations," he said to his recording device. "This is a battle between two different ideas of what life should be. The Vorax believe only they deserve to exist. Earth believes that all peaceful life deserves protection." He watched as Vorax ships tried to flee the system, only to be caught by gravitational fields that stretched across light years. Earth was not just winning the war. Earth was rewriting the rules of what war could be. "But I must record my concerns," Changmin continued. "Earth is becoming something beyond a planet. It is becoming a judge that decides which species deserve to live and which deserve to die. That is a power that should frighten us all." On the surface of Keth Prime, the Vorax High Council made a decision that would have been unthinkable a week Earlier, they activated their emergency communication system and sent a message directly to Earth. "We surrender," the message said in simple terms that every species could understand. "We ask for mercy. We will stop our attacks on human colonies. We will leave human space forever." The message traveled across space at light speed, but Earth's response came instantly through gravitational waves that every being in the system could feel. The response was simple and terrifying. No mercy. Colonial Administrator Seo Jin received the Vorax surrender message at the same time that Earth rejected it. She was in charge of negotiating peace terms, but Earth had already decided there would be no peace. Earth Command, this is Administrator Seo Jin. The Vorax are offering complete surrender. Should we not accept it? Administrator, Earth has made its decision. The Vorax had their chance for peace when they first encountered humanity. They chose genocide instead. Earth does not give second chances to genocidal species. Seo Jin felt a chill. Humanity had gained the ultimate protector, but they had also gained something that could not be reasoned with or controlled. What about other alien species? Will Earth protect them from the Vorax? Earth protects those who respect life. Earth destroys those who destroy life. The choice belongs to each species. Scientist Myung-Jun was recording the final moments of the Vorax civilization from his laboratory ship. His instruments detected gravitational distortions that were tearing apart the very structure of Keth Prime. Day 7 of the siege, he spoke into his recorder. Earth's network of planets is systematically dismantling Vorax civilization. Not just their military, but their entire society. Every Vorax ship, every Vorax station, every Vorax colony is being destroyed. He paused to check his readings. The gravitational weapons are so precise that they can target individual buildings, while leaving the planet's ecosystem intact. Earth is not destroying the world. Earth is only destroying the Vorax. Myung-Jun realized what this meant. Earth was not interested in conquest or resources. Earth only cared about removing threats to peaceful life. But I must note something disturbing. Other alien species throughout the galaxy are watching this battle. They are seeing what happens to civilizations that threaten humanity. Fear is spreading across the galaxy faster than our ships can travel. The battle ended not with explosions, but with silence. The last Vorax ship stopped transmitting. The last Vorax base went dark. After 10,000 years of spreading death across the galaxy, the Vorax civilization had been completely erased. Ambassador Dayun stood before the newly formed Galactic Council on the neutral world of Haven Station. Representatives from 47 different alien species had gathered to discuss the new reality of galactic politics. Honored delegates, Dayun began, humanity comes before you not as conquerors, but as neighbors who wish to share the galaxy in peace. An insectoid delegate from the Chitrak Empire spoke first. Ambassador, your planet has just destroyed an entire civilization. How can you speak of peace? The Vorax were not destroyed for being different, Dayun replied. They were destroyed for committing genocide. Earth protects all peaceful life regardless of species. A crystalline being from the Silicon Collective asked the question that every species was thinking. What if we disagree with humanity? What if we refuse to follow your planet's rules? Dayun considered her answer carefully. Earth does not rule the galaxy. Earth only responds to threats against peaceful life. If your species chooses to live in peace with others, Earth will protect you as fiercely as it protects humanity. If your species chooses to destroy others, Earth will treat you as it treated the Vorax. The council chamber fell silent. Every delegate understood the choice they were being offered. A gaseous entity from the Nebula Collective spoke next. What proof do we have that Earth will protect non-human species? Dayun activated a holographic display. 3 days ago, the Mantid Empire attacked a peaceful colony of Zephyrian refugees. Earth's response was immediate. The attacking fleet was destroyed, and the Zephyrian colony was defended. Earth does not play favorites. Earth only cares about protecting the innocent. Delegate after delegate asked questions, but the pattern became clear. Species that lived in peace with others would be protected by an army of planets. Species that chose aggression would face the same fate as the Vorax. As the council session Ended, Dawn made one final statement. The age of strong species bullying weak species is over. The age of genocidal empires is finished. Earth and its network of worlds will ensure that peaceful civilizations can live without fear. She paused and looked at each delegate. But Earth also offers friendship. Any species that wishes to join our network of protection is welcome. Together we can build a galaxy where life is cherished instead of destroyed. Some delegates accepted immediately. Others asked for time to consider. A few left the station without saying anything, their intentions unclear. But the message was clear to everyone. Humanity was no longer the weak species that could be pushed around. Humanity had become the galaxy's protectors, backed by planets that could reach across space to defend the innocent. The war was over, the Voraks were gone, and across the galaxy, every species now faced the same choice that had been offered to the Voraks long ago. Choose peace, or face the wrath of worlds themselves. The age of planetary guardians had begun.